there and welcome to this week's update. We're back home from Jardy now, so this week will be all about that with plenty of footage. This week's update is very kindly sponsored by William's osteopath called Stéphanie Dance. She comes and checks William basically whenever we have a problem or just before he goes to a big show, just to check he's really limbered up and using himself to his best ability. She came to see us just before we went to Jardy, which was our first big challenge this year, a CIC 3-star held very close to Versailles, just outside Paris. It's a beautiful event. It's 75 hectares owned by the government and run as a riding school, but you know, the French don't do things by halves. I was really pleased with his dressage. We went for a slightly unorthodox tactic after his performance at Warringham. He's basically on a mixture, it's a half and half mixture of pure racing and pure working mixes. And for the 3 days running up to his dressage test, I just dropped him down to pure working, so no oats at all. And then the day of his dressage, I galloped him 5 times around the gallop track they had there, in the dressage saddle, really getting him to swing through his body without putting the pressure on that the pure flat work does. And then we did 20 minutes in the warm-up arena, and he did, his best test for a couple of years. He was really well behaved. He walked when he was supposed to walk. One of his changes was a little bit late behind, but the other one was very good. He tried his best. There were a couple of small errors, but I was really pleased that we broke the 60% and the 60 penalty barrier, because it means that the judges were giving him 7s and we weren't throwing them all away either on 5s. So it's positive. We weren't troubling the leaders by any means, but it was a step in the right direction for us. The cross country, I must say, I was so nervous before the cross country. You can see here some pictures of some of the fences that we took. They're truly massive. After our horse fall at Etten-Leur, I was worried that, having got it so wrong on 1.10 metre, and those being the consequences, I was worried what would happen if I got it wrong, for whatever reason, at this level. Yeah, you can have it all. I'm really pleased to say that, the ground was superb, so we could afford to kick on and ride properly. That wasn't a worry. And the only way I could get myself in the right frame of mind to actually set off and, not just dissolve into a nervous wreck was to tell myself I'd been picked to ride for a team and that the team needed my result, needed us to go out there and do it. and it seemed to work. We had a lovely shot at the first, and you know, the second and the third were also quite straightforward, but already big enough. And then number 4 was a big question. Jumped the first part beautifully, and then had to do a 90-degree turn towards a corner, very invitingly sighted with the start on the side when you want to run out. And you can see from the footage here, he just loses his hind end on the turn. I don't know why. He had pretty big studs in the back legs. But obviously, well, you've got super studs in the front, but I didn't have the type of super stud I wanted to put in the hind feet, so I've obviously got to get hold of some of them because, you know, he just didn't stand up well enough. Anyway, so I turned a circle and came back to part B, and he jumped it very well second time.
Clear through the water, the lake fence going down towards 7.
Voilà, c'est parti pour la Grande-Bretagne, bonne route à Victoria et Black Weekend.
Everett.
Les Pays-Bas et la Grande-Bretagne qui peuvent le tour. Nous sommes donc en effet à mi-épreuve maintenant de Jardy. Je me rappelle dans les
Long equipment with Cannon Pride for the Netherlands has just cleared fence number 9. The picnic table she's clear so far, about halfway round. But one refusal there for Victoria Manson on 4B on the corner.
And I did think about pulling up after that, but I thought if I pull up now, I'm never going to go cross country again. I'll completely lose my nerve. So I kicked on, just put it out of my head, kicked on. Jumped 5 really well, 6 was the water, and he went beautifully through there.
Avec Steve Aigues, il était 3e, il est rentré déjà sans pénalité. Il est sûr et certain que Clayton Frédéric sera en tête ce soir, ce soir. Donc maintenant nous allons...
7 straightforward, 8 was a huge bounce up a step to a brush, and you were just standing at the bottom looking upwards, going, how on earth are we going to get up there in 2 just bounds? But he did that really, really nicely. And then there was a big picnic table and a few straightforward but fairly frightening fences around the next field, as well as a quite impressive combination that rode better than it looked. And then we came back into the field nearest the start. You can see here the footage of us going through a combination.
14 coming into 15. Combination fence 15, 2 barrel. Double.
So the next to last combination was a palisade situated on the lip of a steep descent with 3 strides to another skinny, and we just didn't jump the palisade very well, skidded slightly on the turn coming into it, and left us a lot to do to get to the palisade. And I thought, you know, we'd had such good shots everywhere and we'd gained so much confidence, the pair of us going round. I didn't want him lying all over that fence and us sort of throwing away all the good work we'd done. So I turned a circle again and he jumped it final representation, and then we just had a sort of quite a long counter down to the last, and I was just expecting to cruise on down there and jump it, but he came out into that field and he was really on fire. He was like, come on mum, off we go. So we did, and had a good blast down that last field, which was nice because, you know, he was really, really enthusiastic, and he recovered well. Annabelle Gout, who's a physiotherapist, he was there with one of the British riders. She had a look at him that evening and just worked through some stiffness, and the next day trotted up fine. And do you mind not biting me? No. And then it came to show jumping, which was quite late on in the day, and he jumped. You know, I was like, no, I'm not going to panic, and I'm not going to push him, and I'm going to let him get the time to jump up in the air, like my trainers have been telling me. Warmed up very nicely. He was about 5th to go in the ring, and No, he jumped very well. He listened. Maybe I killed the canter a couple of times, but I just didn't want to get into the sort of gallopy pushing him onto the forehand type of rhythm. And he had 3 down, all in the second half of the course, all back bars off oxes, and I think he was just getting ever so slightly tired, and he didn't really see why he should stretch those few extra inches. But no, we've jumped rounds a lot worse than that, and we certainly weren't the worst on the day. So.
Résultat de 4 points dans le temps.
Sorry, correction. It's Victoria Madison with bike riding on the course.
Yeah. Oh.
So, although on paper it wasn't our greatest event, I think actually we've grown a lot in confidence, and we're a much happier pair now than we were when we set off there, particularly when it comes to cross country. So we'll just keep, tootling around at this level for the summer, and we're sort of, I'm, tentatively thinking now about maybe going for Burley in the autumn. So there we go. Obviously he's really starving and needs to eat some human to balance out his diet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.